Mr. Hoover, did you have any better luck getting in earlier this morning?
Yes, we
Okay.
actually did. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, just making sure.
Class of the jurors. I'll do the presentation.
Deputy Scott, please be seated, everybody. All right, members of the jury, welcome back. And we are ready to dive into this case and get started. But there are a few things I want to do first. The first thing is there's going to be another oath. Now that you are on the actual trial jury, there's another oath we have to do. So let's go ahead and do that now. If you could please stand and raise your right hand. You shall well and truly try the issue formed upon this bill of indictment between the state of Georgia and Derez Zachary Sanders, who is charged with the offenses that were previously outlined to you, and a true verdict give according to the evidence. So help you God. If so, say I will. Thank you so much. All right, now just a few more instructions and a little more detail about how this week and however many additional days we require to conclude the trial next week, how it's going to go. Starting off with some logistics, there are no assigned seats. So when you come in and out, which is going to happen wherever you'd like. If you need anything while you're in the jury room, feel free to get in touch with Deputy Scott. Or when you're, if at any point during your deliberations, you're going to notice there's a light switch on the wall that's going to turn on that light right there that lets us know that you have, that you need something. Always, again, remember to wear your jury stickers when you're out and about in the courtroom. When we take our lunch breaks, we should have extras of those for you if you need them. And again, remember that anyone associated with this case, with the exception of the courtroom staff, is prohibited from having any contact with you whatsoever during this trial. You've been provided with Pens and notepads, I believe you have not. We're going to get those for you by the time I'm done giving you these instructions. But here are some directions and instructions on these notes. You can take notes, but you're not required to. And please don't let your note taking distract you from paying full attention to the evidence and the witnesses. You may not share or discuss your notes with anyone until you start deliberating at the end of the case, because your notes are not evidence. They're only memory aids. They're not more important than your own impression or memory of what the evidence may have been. And while you can consider another juror's notes to refresh your memory, you should rely on your own memory of the proceedings. You must leave your notes in the jury room except when you're in the courtroom, and they're going to be destroyed at the end of the deliberations of this case. This is very, very important. I know we have a court reporter here writing down everything you say, but at the end of this trial, you will not get a transcript of any witness's testimony. A lot of times we get a question for that, people wanting to replay what someone has said days before. That can't happen. That's simply just not part of what we're able to do. So you have to remember, in the best way that works for you, what the evidence was. And before we start the trial, I'm also going to cover some basic principles of criminal law and explain everyone's role and how this trial is going to proceed. The defendant has pled not guilty to this indictment, and he denies every charge in it. This indictment and the defendant's plea of not guilty present the issue that you have been selected and sworn to decide. The indictment is the way that the defendant is charged with committing crimes that violate the laws of Georgia. The charges in the indictment and the plea of not guilty are not evidence of guilt, and you may not conclude that the defendant is guilty based on the charges or the not guilty plea. The defendant is presumed to be innocent until he is proven guilty, and he begins the trial with a presumption of innocence in his favor. This presumption stays with him until it's overcome by the state beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty of the crimes charged. The defendant has no burden of proof at all, and the burden never shifts to him to prove his innocence. My role is to determine the law that applies to this case, and then I will instruct you at the conclusion of the evidence of the law that you must apply to the facts in reaching a verdict. I'm giving you some of those instructions now, but there's going to be more detailed instructions at the end of the trial. Obviously, as the jury, you have a very important role. You must decide the facts of the case from the evidence presented, and then apply the law I give you to those facts. Evidence is how a fact is proved or disproved. Evidence can be either testimony or exhibits. Testimony is what you hear from people taking the witness stand, and they swear to tell the truth. The questions the lawyers ask those witnesses are not evidence. You are the fact finder, and you are the exclusive judge of a witness's credibility. And it's your duty to believe the witnesses who you think are most believable and to determine which testimony you will believe. Exhibits are documents, photographs, and other physical items admitted during the trial. The object of this trial is to discover the truth. During the trial, I will admit according to the rules of evidence. These are rules designed to aid in discovering the truth by making sure you only consider the best and highest evidence. The lawyers are advocates for their clients, and they have a duty to represent their clients to the best of their ability. They must follow the rules of law, trial procedure, and evidence during the trial. They may make motions or objections if they believe a rule is not being followed. And what the lawyers say in making or responding to those objections is not evidence either. After they make an objection or a motion, I will admit or exclude evidence according to the rules. And if they make an objection and I overrule it, that means the evidence is admitted and you can consider that evidence. But if I sustain an objection, that means the evidence is excluded and you should not consider it. You should only consider the testimony and the exhibits that are admitted. You should not assume or infer anything about evidence which I have excluded. If you happen to hear or see evidence that ends up excluded from the trial, you must disregard it entirely in your deliberations. None of my decisions and nothing I say during this trial are evidence. My decisions and remarks do not mean that I favor or lean to one side or another in this case. I'm only interested in seeing that the case according to the laws of this state and the Constitution of the state of Georgia and the United States. Often, we're going to have to deal with objections and motions without you being here in the courtroom. And that's when we're going to have to ask you to step back. We'll try to limit that. A lot of times we'll have maybe short conversations at the bench. But please be patient because it's going to come up quite a bit during a trial, as it always does. And there's going to be some in and out, in and out. But while you're back there, please know that we are working in here, trying to move things along efficiently. Here's how the trial proceeds. First, the attorneys may give what are called opening statements. They're not required to, and they're not evidence. They're simply an introduction to the evidence, a preview or outline of the expected evidence. The state goes first because they have the burden of proof. Second, the evidence is presented. And then finally, when the evidence is concluded, the attorneys rather, may give closing arguments. They may discuss the law that applies to this case and how you should consider the law in light of the evidence. What the lawyers say in closing arguments is not evidence. And finally, I'm going to explain the specific law that applies to this case. And then I'll ask you to go to the jury room and deliberate and reach your verdict. It's obviously important that you pay close attention during this trial. Anytime you can't hear or see anything, or you need any kind of assistance or break, let me know. And we will do what is needed to make sure you can hear and see the evidence and give it your undivided attention. If you need to break at any time, please raise your hand and alert the bailiffs. You should consider the evidence with an open mind and should not reach any final conclusions until the trial is over. Do not jump to conclusions before all the evidence is presented. Again, to maintain the integrity of this jury system, I remind you that you must decide the case based only on the evidence admitted during this trial and the law that I explained to you. You may not conduct any research on your own about this case or any of the people or places mentioned during the trial. You can't visit any of the places mentioned. You can't refer to any books or documents that were not admitted. You can't use dictionaries or reference materials. You can't Google or search the internet. You can't use any of these sources to get information about legal terms or about the law. Simply put, any outside research, anything that comes from outside of this courtroom cannot be considered or accessed by you at all. Doing so jeopardizes all of the work we're about to do together this week and all the time that you are sacrificing to be here. Remember, you are the ones that have been qualified as a fair and impartial jurors to decide this case, and no other influence should affect your decision. So that's why we also ask that you not discuss this with anyone, including family, friends, and other loved ones around you. Until the actual deliberations begin, that is, once you've heard all the evidence and the closing arguments, that's actually the only point when even among yourselves, you're supposed to start talking about the case. All right, so we're now ready to begin opening statements, but I'm going to step off and make sure that we can get you the juror pads and pens. So if we can hold tight just for a moment. All right, state, who'll be giving opening statement? All right, the floor is yours, Mr. Fawcett.
Good morning. I just read the counts to you in the state's indictment. There are 18 counts. And this is as far as we can get the case, because all that's required for the state to bring the indictment is to print it out, present it to the grand jury, and make a probable cause determination. We are required to prove the evidence and prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt. And over the next week to week and a half, you're going to hear that evidence in the form of witness statements, audio evidence. You're going to see ballistic evidence of projectiles that were used in this case that killed the victims. You're going to see a 44 caliber Magnum revolver. We'll have experts come to court and tell you the mechanics of the revolver, how we know when we went to the crime scene that a revolver was used to murder Timothy Jackson, Rubio Sawyer, and James Johnson, because they didn't find shell cases. That's how we know when we go to the crime scene that it was a revolver. That's a particular type of gun because revolvers are pretty limited in how many rounds of live ammunition they can hold. Typically, what officers will tell you is it's interesting when they see a revolver because they most often see semiotic weapons that can hold 12, 13, 15 rounds. Well, 2258 Gary Court, Northwest Atlanta. You're going to see this street. It's a cul-de-sac. And in the middle of the cul-de-sac, there's barbecue grills where they come together and grill. There are families on this street working, retired, been there for decades. And as we know, some communities in Atlanta have crime. Well, Gary Court in Atlanta Road was no different because that residence, 2258 Gary Court, was being used as living quarters, and it was being used to sell crack cocaine and powder cocaine. So you're going to hear a lot of witnesses. You heard the witness list. I'm going to talk about Timothy Jackson very affectionately. Several of the witnesses that we're going to come to court and call the court to testify, to tell you what happened, tell you what this defendant did, the Red Sanders. They're going to talk very affectionately about Timothy Jackson. And in some respects, you're going to hear that he was a good person. But I'll make no mistake, he sold drugs. Okay? And he sold drugs out of this residence. Now, one thing about selling drugs, and I don't have to tell you this, it's no secret, it's cash-based business. Okay. It's not uncommon for drug dealers to be robbed because who are they gonna call? Drug dealers might not know this, a lot easy targets sometimes if you have the ammunition, you have the muscle. Well, Timothy Jackson was aware of the risk because a friend of his had recently been kidnapped and robbed. So you're gonna see this house, 2258. There are burglar bars on every window. There is a security iron rod door on the front. What's interesting about when they get to the residence on November 22nd, that door was locked. There was no sign of entry to the windows. They had to pry that door open to make entry. No one had heard from Timothy Jackson for a day. His girlfriend, you're gonna hear Miss Gaither, was concerned. They go and peep in the window and they see Burial Sawyer. You're gonna see the photo laid out on the bed in the back bedroom. He's unresponsive. Something's not right. They pry the door open. They see Timothy Jackson sitting in the living room. He's got headset on. He's got a skull cap. And he was in the midst of doing something that he enjoyed to do. He liked to play video games. He liked to play video games and smoke his black and mild cigar while he's playing. And he likes to play online. Well, he wasn't on guard in his residence. He had the doors locked. You're going to hear that Timothy Jackson stopped letting people who were coming over to buy drugs into the house because of this threat, this fear of being robbed. So the only people he would allow to the residence, obviously himself, Rubio Sawyer, you're going to hear his nickname, people call him Bubba, and Timothy Jackson had an older cousin, James Johnson. He's an older gentleman, and he's heavily addicted to drugs. And instead of James Johnson being on the street, he would get some drugs from his cousin, and his cousin allowed him to stay there. He would help with this, let's just call it a drug company of business or whatever it was, okay? There was another person that would spend time at this residence. Let's call him an apprentice, like an internship, if you will. This person was about 18, and he was trying to learn the drug business and he was being groomed to help out with this operation. And so he was trusted by Timothy Jackson. He was trusted by Rosario Sawyer, and he was trusted by James Johnson. That's it. At 18 years old, he saw the money Timothy Jackson had. He saw the access to the drugs that he was able to sell. He wanted it. You're going to hear about what he was planning on doing. Tired of being broke. I need some money. I don't feel respected. So he set up and planned it. He knows that Timothy Jackson doesn't trust one of his residents. He knows that he trusts him. He knows the routine. When Timothy Jackson died, he was sitting down, looking at the TV. He had no idea that Derez Sanders was right next to him, thinking, good time. Been thinking about it for weeks. You see the photo of Timothy Jackson. He's going to be slumped over on the sofa with the Xbox, completely unexpected. You're going to see the hole in the back of his head. You're going to see the Xbox on. Well, that wasn't the only person in the house because Rosario Sawyer was in the back bedroom. So when police were conducting their investigation, they knew there were three people. Three people. Where's the third person? But they didn't find him on the 22nd. You're going to hear two 911 calls. The first 911 call is on the 22nd when Timothy Jackson's girlfriend, Patrice Gaither, comes over to the house that she hadn't talked to him, and she finds him. You're going to hear what she sounded like when she saw Timothy Jackson. When she saw Father. Very good, sorry. Where is James Johnson at? He lived here. So the next day, out behind the house in the wooded area, they find another body. Where's James Johnson? He's been shot to the top of his head. We don't have a projectile because the bullet left his jaw. You can see his jaw blown off half of it. Okay. They kept the drugs in the back of the house. So the person that killed these three men killed them in the same way. They're all shot in the head. The person that killed these three men knew the right time to do it. I'm gonna wait till Timothy Jackson is sitting, busy playing his game. I know Bubba is in the back sleep. So before he has a chance to react, we're gonna shoot him. I'm gonna let James Johnson think he's gonna be all right. He just shows me where the stash of drugs is. Right? So he takes James Johnson out into the backyard of the residence, the back wooded area. Oh, wow, he's thinking he's gonna be okay because I'm gonna show him with the drugs. Why would he kill me? I'm old. He's wrong. Because as soon as he got the drugs, he died right out there in that yard. They didn't even see him. Just long enough for the mag to start eating. Now, I can't sit up here and tell you a theory and give you that. Doesn't make sense to do that because I know what happened. And the reason why I know what happened is Derez Sanders, for some reason, couldn't shut up about it. He couldn't shut up about planning for it. Oh, he told Mr. Davenport, one of his friends, I'm thinking about hitting the lick. Thinking about hitting the lick. His cousin, Dwayne High. Hey man, I want you to do this robbery with me. You got money, you got drugs. Just kept talking about what he wanted to do over the 2-week period. These are witness statements that law enforcement received during the course of the investigation. These are people that we subpoenaed to come tell you what he told them, what his plan was. Well, on the night this happened, we're talking about Gary Court neighborhood, families there, they hear 2 gunshots, loud, distinctive. Chelsea Brewer is gonna tell you that she heard the gunshots after she sees this defendant about 45 minutes later in the victim's car. He shows her cocaine package for sale. She knows he got it from Timothy Jackson. She knows Timothy Jackson. He shows her money. And he tells her, he uses this word, it was an execution. That's what it was. It was an execution. I looked up the definition of execution. Person who was killed know they're gonna die. They're aware of the threat, the danger, and then they die. You can't do anything about it. That's an execution. James Johnson was executed. Julio Sawyer was executed, and Timothy Jackson was executed. He didn't just tell Dwayne High, his aunt, Latrice Williams, Dwayne High's mother, his aunt. After the murder, it's one of the first places he goes is over to Dwayne High's residence with his mother, Latrice Williams. He walks through exactly how he did it. I was sitting next to Tim Jackson, and I was just thinking, should I do it? That's what I'm saying. Tim Jackson didn't have any clue this was going to happen, that the person sitting next to him that he was grooming, and he was allowed to be in his residence, at that very moment was thinking of killing him. That's exactly what it was thinking. He describes as he went, after he shot Timothy Jackson, how he went to the next room. Before Bubba could get up, he shoots him in the back of the head, he falls dead. And he talks about how he walks James Johnson to the back of the yard to give him the drugs. So I'm not telling you what the crime scene shows, although we're going to show that. I'm telling you what he told other witnesses he did. So there are a lot of lay witnesses that we have. Some of these witnesses have different pictures, different pieces of what happened. Some witnesses overheard him planning. Some witnesses are going to talk about the admissions he made, explaining his involvement afterwards. And then other witnesses are going to tell you some of the things he tried to do to cover it up, to try to point direction in another direction, point guilt and culpability in another direction. So one of the things that I kept hearing when I'm talking to officers that you're going to hear is how he was acting at the crime scene. Well, one of the things that I heard from Latrice Williams that she's going to tell you is that she told Derez Sanders, your dad wants you to go up to the crime scene so the police see. So the police can see. You know what he said? But my dad, I'll kill him too. That's what he told his aunt. Police, when they went to the scene, they saw him throwing a bottle, screaming, crying, acting out. It was bizarre. They're going to hear that he called the victims hours after they were murdered. And all the actions of the defendant, showing up at the scene, threat to kill Dwayne High afterwards. And when this defendant was arrested by the Fugitive Task Force, he was in possession of a .44 caliber Magnum revolver. Ladies and gentlemen, We will prove this case with evidence. We'll prove this case with the witness statements that were there. And I'm going to tell you, I don't suspect that any of these witnesses will be particularly thrilled about coming to court. But these are the witnesses that were around Perez Sanders when this happened. This is what they said in 2013. Our community at Gary Court has been waiting 10 years for this date, for this week. And at the conclusion of this trial, we're going to ask you for one verdict, the only appropriate verdict, the true verdict. And that's guilty. The other thing that the defendant did to that vehicle that he got his aunt and cousin to do to help him, they specifically went over there, not just to tell him about the murder, but to burn the vehicle. You're going to hear that the vehicle that Timothy Jackson was driving, the vehicle of his girlfriend that was owned by Miss Hagan, was burned close to that residence. At the conclusion of this case, we're going to ask you for that verdict, guilty on all counts of the state's indictment. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On March 14, 2014, the DA indicted Perez Sanders for these charges they put up there on the screen. Now, what this indictment means, the judge is going to tell you, you're going to hear it say it all over and over again. This indictment is not evidence. What this indictment really is, which the DA didn't tell you, this is a promise to all of you. This indictment is a promise that every single thing that they put in this document is true, under reasonable doubt. When DAs indicted Perez, the DAs told you that every single witness they put on the stand, you can believe everything they say beyond a reasonable doubt. What this indictment means, every piece of evidence they show you, whether you see it, whether you hear it, you can believe it's true beyond a reasonable doubt. And ladies and gentlemen, what this indictment means, everything the DA just told you right here and now, you have to believe beyond a reasonable doubt, because that's what this promise is. This promise is that the district attorney of Fulton County told the Fulton County citizens that every single thing that we're telling you today throughout this trial is true beyond a reasonable doubt. You've heard them lay out your case. You've heard there are going to be a number of witnesses up there talking. You've heard there's going to be a number of pieces of evidence that you're going to see, you're going to hear. I just ask you to hold them to their burden. Make them prove to you beyond a reasonable doubt that every single thing you hear and you see, they prove to you that you can go back and say, you know what? I believe every single thing that person said. You know what? I believe every single piece of evidence that person showed me. I believe every single thing the DA just told me today, the first time he had an opportunity to talk to all of you. If you hold them to that burden, hold them to that promise to all of you, I'm confident you will find Perez Sanders not guilty of all charges. Thank you.
State may call its first witness.
Your Honor, the state calls Sharon Latners.
Mr. Fawcett, do you have a exhibit list or witness list for the court's aid?
I have one. I will email it.
Okay. You swear or affirm that the testimony you should give the court will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you.
I do.
All right, you may be seated. The
mic, state, spell your full name for the record.
Sharon Latners, SharonLatners.
Ms. Latner, good morning.
Good morning.
Can you tell the court how you employed
City of Atlanta Communication 911 Center.
and what do you do with them?
I am custodian of records for the City of Atlanta Police Department.
And what does that mean?
I handle all the incoming and outgoing 911 calls. I handle all the radio dispatch calls. I handle all the audio systems, the CAD report system. I handle all the subpoena calls for the 911 center.
Okay. And what is a CAD report?
Computer aid dispatch.
Okay. And what's the purpose of that?
The purpose of keep records from when 911 calls come in or when officer pull out on a incident.
Okay. And is that report produced each time a 911 call is made?
Yes,
All right. How was that report maintained in the system?
it's maintained in our system, our CAD 24 hours.
Okay. What about audio?
Our audio is maintained in our system 24 hours.
Okay. How does your department receive audio and then record it?
Our audio comes from our NICE system, NICE.
Okay. Who has access to retrieve and view the CAD reports and or audio?
Well, the supervisor has access to review the CAD and audios. Myself and two other people have access to it.
Okay. All right. If I could approach the witness, Judge.
If it's your witness, you don't need to ask permission from here on out.
All right. Thank you. I'm going to hand you what's been marked as state exhibits 1 and 2. Tell the court if you recognize this. I'll start with exhibit 1 first.
Yes, it's a copy of the incident that happened that day.
Okay. And this is the CAD report?
Yes,
All right. And is that report maintained in normal course of business at the 911 center?
yes.
All right. And I'm going to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 2. Can you tell the court what that is?
It's a copy of the 911 call from this incident.
That statement.
Yes,
And have you had an opportunity to listen to the content?
yes,
And is the contents a fair and accurate representation of the 911 call that was made when that report was produced?
yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state will move to tender in evidence State's Exhibits 1 and 2.
No objection to states exhibits 1 and 2, Your Honor.
Admitted.
I'm going to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 3. Can you tell the court what that is?
It's a copy of the CAD report for that incident.
All right. And was that produced and maintained in normal course of business at the 911 center?
Yes,
I'm going to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 4. Can you tell the court what that is?
it's a copy of the 911 call for this incident.
And have you had an opportunity to review the contents of that disc?
Yes, sir.
Are they a fair and accurate representation of the 911 call that corresponds with that report?
Yes,
Your Honor, this time the state will move to tender in evidence State's Exhibits 3 and 4.
No objection to states exhibit 3 and 4, Your Honor.
Admitted.
I'll identify them for the record, but permission to publish.
Permission granted.
So the first is I will publish the State's Exhibit 2.
Atlanta 911 operator 6074. What's the address of your emergency?
I don't know.
Okay, ma'am, I need you to take a deep breath and calm down and give me an address.
I don't
I
know.
can get you some help. Hello?
Yes.
Ma'am, what's the address so I can get you some help?
I don't even know what the address is here.
Okay, then can you see 2 intersections?
22 2258. Gary Court.
2258 what?
Gary Court.
Do you need fire, ambulance, or police there?
Yes, I need somebody.
What's going on there, ma'am? Okay, ma'am, what's going on there?
I see
What?
somebody laying in the window.
You see
You
somebody?
won't move.
Okay, hold on for Grady.
No, Jesus. Oh, mercy, no.
Ma'am, is this a house or an apartment?
Oh,
Grady, call us at 2258 Gary Court, Northwest. She's on the line.
What's your what is your address?
2258 Gary Court.
Atlanta, can you repeat the address for me, please?
2258 Gary Court, Northwest.
Yes.
Ma'am, is that a house or an apartment?
A house.
What's your phone number you're calling from?
678 651 4943.
Your name? What's your name?
Renee.
Renee, tell me exactly what happened.
I don't know. I came over looking for my boyfriend, and I'm banging on the window, and this guy is laying here. We call him Baba, and he's laying here, and he won't even move, and I'm beating on the window. Oh, and blood is everywhere. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my Jesus. Oh, Jesus.
Renee. Renee. What? Tell me what happened.
I don't know. I just came over here. Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Somebody down.
He's on the bed. I can see him through the window. Ooh. Oh. Oh, my God. Oh, my Jesus. Oh.
Renee.
No, he won't even move, and I see blood.
Renee, are you able to get inside?
No.
Is there a defibrillator available?
No. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, they dead, bro. They dead. Yeah, open the door. Open the door. Hurry up. Open the door. Come on, open the door. Open the door. Please.
Grady, what's your operator?
Please, hurry up.
Sorry, say that again,
Please,
Grady.
hurry up.
I'm 726.
726-6074.
Tear the door up. Tear the door up. Give it to me. Tear the door up. Tear the fucking door up. Tear the fucking door up.
Ma'am, is there somebody there with you?
Yes.
Is it
Yes.
you, or are you able to get into
Yes. Open the door. Open the damn door. Open the door. Open the door. Please. Please open the door. Open the door, so man. Open the door. Please. Open the door. Open the door. Open the door. Oh, Bobby not dead, man. I see him in the window. Yes, he is. Look in the window. Yes, he is. Please, Jesus, oh my God. Oh, Heavenly Father. Please. Oh, no. No, Lord Jesus. No, man, no.
Ma'am, are you inside the house?
Man, oh my God. I'm on the phone with him now.
Are you inside the house?
No. He's trying to get the door now. Please, please, Jesus. Please open the door. Oh, please. Please. Yeah. Oh. Oh. Can I open it? Can I get a police? What you need for me to do?
Are you inside the house?
Please. Oh, above in the bed, man. Oh, Lord have mercy. I don't know. I hear his phone in there. Oh. You on the phone? No, I'm talking to somebody. They come. Please.
Are you inside the house?
Can I get a police? Please.
Ma'am, whoever that is calling the police, tell them that we're already on the way.
Oh my God.
Ma'am.
Hey, Renee.
No.
Renee.
Jesus. No. No. Oh, my baby. No. No, Sam. No. My lady. My lady. No. No. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. What am I going to do? No. 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 No.
Renee.
No. You gotta get you gotta Auntie, come on, Auntie. No. No.
Renee.
Come on, baby. No. Come on, baby. You gotta let them do their job. No.
Ms. Latner, turn your attention back to State's Exhibit 1. You can just tell us the date and time that call came in.
The date it came in November 22nd, 2013. Call came in at 17:39 p.m. hour, which is 5:39 p.m. hours.
Okay, thank you. Now, the next call, State's Exhibit 4, can you tell us when that call came in?
It came in November 23rd, 2013, and it came in at 2:20 p.m. hours.
State's Exhibit 4.
Atlanta 911 operator 6175. What is the address to your emergency?
2258.
What is the street?
Gary Court.
2258 Gary Court.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that a house or an apartment?
House.
Do you need police, fire, or EMS?
Police.
What's your name?
My name?
Mm-hmm.
Antoine Gates.
What's your phone number?
404-551-0729.
Okay, why do you need police, sir?
There was a double homicide at this address yesterday, and I just came back to the house yesterday and checked in the backyard, and I found another dead body.
You found a dead body?
Yes, ma'am. This is all tied in from a double murder that was called in yesterday.
Okay. Is that person? Do you know if this person died today or?
No, he's been out there for a couple of days.
All right, hold for Grady, please. Do not hang up. Hold on.
Okay.
This is Grady EMS. What is the address of the emergency?
2258.
I'm waiting for the rest of the address, sir.
2258 Gary Court.
Where?
Gary Court, Gary.
Is it a house or an apartment?
A house.
And the phone number you're calling from?
404-551-0729.
Your name?
Antoine Gate.
Mr. Gate, tell me exactly what happened.
There was a double homicide at this address yesterday, and there was a third person that we were trying to account for that was in the house too. And I just came back to the house this morning, and I found him in the backyard. He was already dead.
Okay, you said he was shot and killed from yesterday?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you a few questions, but remember, we're coming. Are you with him now?
No, I'm standing out in the street in front of the house now.
About how old is the patient?
He between 50 and 60.
About how old is he?
He's between the age of 50 and 60. I don't know exactly.
50 or 60?
Yes, ma'am.
Is he awake?
Ma'am?
I must ask. I know you said you think he's dead, but I still must ask. Is he awake?
No.
Is he breathing?
No.
Okay. Atlanta, we're going to need fire, ALS, and PD due to being a shooting. Operator 770, you are?
I'm 6175 Grady. I already have fire and PD en route.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, the assailant, is the assailant still nearby?
He's in the backyard of the house.
The person who shot him?
No, of course not.
Okay. Okay, is there any serious bleeding?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, I understand. I still must ask, okay? Now, I'm sending...
All right, Ms. Latner, as far as the keeping of the records at the 911 dispatch, was that your only involvement in this case?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's all I have for this witness, Judge.
Good morning, Ms. Latner.
Good morning.
I know you're used to it, but that was kind of difficult to listen to. So let me know if you need a moment before we continue.
I'm fine. 32 years, I'm fine.
Okay. So I want to talk about those exhibits that do you still have? No. Let me give you State's Exhibit 1, which is the CAD report from 11/22/2013, and State's Exhibit 3, which is a CAD report from 11/23/2013. Now, I want to start with the second one first. So the CAD report from 11/23, November 23rd, 2013. That's the second 911 call, correct?
Yes,
All right, now, and just to make sure, you said that 911 call, it came in around 2:20 p.m.
yes, sir.
All right. Now, under where it says officers and it says SEC unit, what does that mean?
That's a unit for that zone.
Okay, so when it says SEC unit 2112, what does that entail? What does that represent?
2112 is the unit for that beat. 2112 is for evening watch. 2 is for evening watch.
Okay.
112 is the beat.
So
112.
So there on this one, there's 5 different units.
Yes.
What does that mean on the CAD report if there's 5 different units?
That means when the dispatcher gave out the primary unit was 212, 2112, she sent other units. 2137 is another unit. 87 is a supervisor for that zone. 4142 and 4150 is a homicide unit.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So for those of us that aren't in law enforcement, a unit is a cop, but an
Yes.
officer.
Yes.
Okay. When you said unit, I'm thinking, okay, now I get it. So there's 5 units on November 23rd, 2013. Now let's go to the first one from November 22nd, 2013. Now that one started, I guess, the first unit that arrived at 5:51 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And just like the other one had 5 units, there's 16. So that means 16 officers were there at some point during that call, during that night.
Well, what it is, when the dispatcher give out a call saying person been shot, if a unit's not busy in their zone, all the units going to go to that location.
Gotcha.
And homicide is called last to the location, which is the 41 units.
Gotcha. All right. So 16 are listed. That means 16 units were in the area and were called.
Yes, sir. They went to that area.
Perfect. And it started at 5:51 p.m. and cleared, it shows at 11:24 p.m. Am I reading that correctly?
Yes, sir.
So between a 6-hour time frame, there were 16 officers there.
Well, not the whole time. After so many times, the supervisor advised people need to go back into service.
Gotcha. So between 5:39 p.m. and 11:24 p.m., 16 different officers were in and out.
Yes, sir.
On top of the officers, I guess EMT were there as well.
Yes, sir.
All right. Would the coroner be out there as well?
They be out there once homicide get out there and advise they need to start them out there.
Okay. And speaking from experience, I don't know if it happened here, but some people from the DA's office, would they be out there as well?
I don't know. Back in 2013, we didn't work that close with the DA's office. We just started doing that.
Okay. And the second video or recording we just heard, that was Antoine Gates. And if I heard him correctly, he said that third body had been out there for a few days. Is that what you heard as well?
That's what he said.
Okay, thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Can you redirect Mr. Fawcett?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Ms. Latners. State may call next witness.
Your Honor, state calls Officer Ward.
Swear.
ERMITWARD.
Officer Ward, good morning.
Good morning.
Can you tell the court how you're currently employed?
Atlanta Police Department, Zone 1, Crime Suppression Unit.
All right. And what are your duties?
Patrol and then proactive encounters in the in Zone 1 in the hot areas.
When you say hot areas, what do you mean by that?
Areas with a higher incidence of crime.
Okay, all right. How long have you done that?
For about 4 years now.
Prior to that, what did you do?
I was plain clothes, doing patrol on a new beat that came to the zone, and then also prior to that, I was on patrol.
Are you post certified?
Yes, sir.
What does that mean to be post certified?
It means that that you've completed the training that's required, and you're recognized by the state as a peace officer, and you maintain that certification.
Your position in this department, were you employed in that capacity November 22nd, 2013?
Yes, sir.
And did you have the occasion to respond to an incident location at 2258 Airport?
Yes, sir.
And what was the nature of your response to that location?
So that call came up as a down person call, so an injured person, and I recall that I was at the precinct, and that location is close by. So I just responded to it. When I responded alone, and it was unexpected what I found. So when go ahead.
Were you one of the first officers that responded?
I was the only officer on scene initially, right?
So walk me through, like, when you respond to a location, what would be your goals or objectives that you were trying to accomplish?
Well, ascertain what's going on. But the first thing is to make sure that the scene is safe for myself and safe for everybody else. And then from there, interview a witness or find out what the caller wants and find out how I can help. That's it.
At that time, prior to your, what information did you know about what had taken place at that house?
I believe the remarks on the call said that the caller had looked through the window, seen that their friend or relative was motionless or something unresponsive, and that was it. And I was responding to that.
All right. Tell us what you saw when you made your way inside that residence.
So when I arrived, fire was on scene and Grady was already on scene. The door, so when I arrived, there's a carport. There's a house with a carport on the right side as I'm facing it. So I go in through the door on the carport because that was open. And immediately to my left, as you go in that carport door, on the sofa, there's a guy who's motionless on the sofa, and you can see that he's sustained gunshot wound, or he's sustained some sort of major injury to his head, and he's got a game controller, and the TV's still on with a console connected to it in the game. So the thing is that was unusual about that. Everybody was inside. Everybody was there already. Fire was inside. Grady was inside. There were the callers were inside. I went to the back to make sure to see what else was going on the back room on the left. There was another male that was motionless, unresponsive, with some major injury to his head on the bed. And so then I came out and called it in.
Okay. Now, when an officer such as yourself would respond to that type of location, what, if anything, would you do to prepare for, say, a homicide detective will be coming later?
Okay, so we established a crime scene by taping it off with to limit access to the entire scene, to make sure that evidence is preserved after that. Once we realize there's something that needs that needs investigation. So we've got to preserve the evidence by limiting access to it off. And then also, as best we can, sequester the witnesses so that they remain on scene. They're available when investigators get there so they can speak with them.
And when you say sequester, what does that mean?
Keep them from leaving the scene, but then keep them from interacting with more people coming on scene,
And can you tell the jury why that would be important to sequester witnesses prior to talking to them?
So that the information that they have is just as accurate as it can be for the investigator.
Would one of those purposes be to prevent, say, a witness's statement being influenced from another witness?
Right,
That
right,
would be
right.
Okay. I'm going to hand you now what has previously been marked as state's exhibits 15, 19, 24, 26, 27, 30, 32, 33, 55, 40, 49, 46, 74, and 81. Okay, I'm going to hand you those exhibits. Can you look at them? Tell them if you're ready.
Yes, sir. So this is the house. And this is the door.
Well, let me ask you this. Have you had a chance to look at those exhibits?
Yes.
Okay. And the images depicted in those exhibits, numbers I've just read into the record. And you said there was a fair and accurate representation of what you observed upon making your way to that residence?
Yes, sir.
22nd of November at 2258 Gary Court?
This is it, sir.
Okay. Your Honor, this time the state moved to evidence. States exhibits 15, 24, 26, 27, 30, 32, 33, 40, 46, 49, 55, 74, and 81.
All right, I lost you at 49.
Okay, 49, 55, 74, and 81.
Any objection?
No objection to all of the exhibits he just listed.
All right, so admitted.
All right. So I'm gonna turn your attention to State's Exhibit 15. Can you tell us what we're looking at?
A front view of the house. When I arrived, it was daytime, but by the time that the investigators and crime scene photographers arrived, it was already nightfall.
Okay. I'm going to turn your attention to State's Exhibit 19.
Okay, and that's the carport where I entered the house.
Okay. And now State's Exhibit 24. Can you tell us what we're looking at?
Okay, that's an area of the house that must be a back area of the house. I didn't or maybe I didn't enter that at that point.
Okay.
But that's still the house.
All right. And if we talk about some of the security features that the residents have, you recognize what you would call there being security burglar bars and the security door?
Right. There were burglar bars on all the windows and all the doors. the one that I entered on the carport was already, was pried open.
Okay. And let me show you exhibits 26 and 27. All right, first we're looking at 26. Can you tell us what that is?
But there is well, I'm looking at one of the windows with burglar bars on it.
Okay. And then 27, is that another window?
And yeah, that's the same thing.
All right. Well, let me turn your attention to exhibits 30. All right. Now, do you see that security door listed in exhibit 30?
Yes.
Do you recall whether there were any pry marks or attempts to open that door by the persons that were there upon your arrival?
Right. The door had obviously been pried open from me arriving on scene. And the thing is, in order for some sort of an official entry, I guess you would call it, into a locked residence, if fire does that, the fire department will do that in some instances, but they always call police to be there. Once they open the door, we go in, secure a scene first, and because they don't know what they're going to find in there. So in this case, fire had not done that. We didn't receive a call like that. It was done prior to them. It must have been done prior to them arriving and prior to Grady arriving.
Show you exhibit 33. We were talking about pry marks. Is that another attempt to open that door that was present when you arrived?
I'm going to object to the leading nature of these questions.
I'll rephrase
He
the
can
question.
ask what it shows, not tell him what the picture is depicting.
All right, sustain.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Right. That's damage on the door that I entered on at the carport.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I want to turn your attention now to exhibit 40. Tell us what we're looking at.
Right. And so that's immediately when you come in that door from the carport. That's the sofa on the left in that living room. And that's where the first victim was. Yeah, he was laid out just like that.
And now exhibit 49. All right, can you tell us what we're looking at?
All right. That's the victim on the sofa in the front room.
And now exhibit 46.
Right. The TV was on. I remember that. There was a console connected to it, and as a matter of fact, I thought the controller was still in his hand.
Were you able to tell there were any defects on the person of Mr. Jackson at that time?
Oh, right. You could see that there was trauma to his head.
Turn your attention to Exhibit 55.
Right. There was trauma to his head, and he was.
What portion, if you recall from being present, what portion of head do you recall that being? Was that the front, the back? Can you tell?
Oh, the back of his head, right.
And turn your attention now to Exhibit 74.
Right. And so when I proceeded down to down the hallway to the back bedroom, and this is where I found that male laid across the bed.
Were you able to determine if that male had any defects on his person?
Right. He had trauma to his head also.
Bring your attention to Exhibit 81. Looking at that state's exhibit, can you tell us where, if anywhere, you see any defects on the person of Mr. Ruberio?
Right. I believe it on the side of his head.
Okay. All right. That's what you recall upon making your way inside of that residence?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Mark, it states Exhibit 165. Can you tell the court if you recognize that?
Right. That's a layout of the house and how everything was arrayed. Yeah.
I would just object when the witness is given a piece of evidence that hasn't been submitted yet. I would ask that he would just answer the question whether or not he recognized it and not describe what it is yet, please.
All right, Officer Ward, pay close attention to the questions that are asked and answer only those questions. Thank you.
Oh, copy that.
You recognize that exhibit depicted in 165?
Yes.
How do you recognize that?
This is a layout of the house.
All right, the house that you were present and went to personally on November 22nd, 2013?
Yes, sir.
And that's the residence of 2258 Gary Court.
Yes, sir.
And the layout is a very accurate representation of what you observed upon making your way inside of that residence.
Yes, sir. This is a.
You know, at this time, the state moved to turn the evidence state exhibit 165.
No objection to state's exhibit 165.
Admitted.
All right, so we're looking at the second page on 165. Can you tell us what this is?
Okay, so that's a layout from the outside as you arrive on the street in front of the house.
All right, and we're going to turn to the next page on 165. All right, what can you tell us about this diagram?
And so this is from the perspective of entering from the carport door.
And is that at the bottom of the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So if I'm going to point your attention to the bottom left quadrant where it says living room, tell us the portion of the residence you saw upon arriving at that location.
Right. So when you come in the door, that's on the left. That's what that's the living room, and then the sofa. That's where victim number one was present.
Okay, now you were testifying to an Xbox and a gentleman with a game set around his head. Is that the location you witnessed?
Right. Yeah, that's correct.
And can you tell us where you recall observing the other gentleman in the bedroom?
So then I proceeded down the hallway, and he was in the last bedroom on the left, laid across the bed.
Do you recall it being a particularly long distance between the front of the door at the bottom to the bedroom? Do you recall that?
It didn't seem like a far distance at that time to me. No, I was, having tunnel vision, but I know there was another door. And so the layout, confirms it, but I remember that there was another door prior to the last bedroom that was locked, and I couldn't open it, and I didn't go in there, I don't think.
Okay, all right. And this has been about 10 years.
Right.
Do you remember walking into the house?
Right.
So you see something like that every day?
No, that's the only reason it probably is somewhat burned in.
And the location at 2258 Erie Court, is that in Fulton County?
Yes, sir.
All right, that's all I have, Judge. Judge, if I could pause my releasing of this witness, I have one or two more questions to ask. Thank you. Now, Ms. Officer Ward, can you tell us what you observed? You were just testifying as to some of the persons you observed at the residence.
Right.
As to some of the non-law enforcement persons that were at that location, can you tell us if you observed anything that stands out of your mind from any persons that were on the residence?
Right. There was at least the callers that were present. There was at least one male and one female, and so when I first arrived, during that walkthrough to clear it, calling everything in, there was no there was no big commotion on the scene at that time. But once other officers had arrived, and then everybody was just everybody that was involved was just waiting on across the street. There was one male who was, extremely agitated. He was distraught. He was visibly distraught, and he had a bottle of alcohol in his hand, and he just kept drinking from that. And he was causing a commotion.
When you say commotion, what do you
mean? Talking out loud to himself, wailing, visibly distraught. But it was one of the same already on scene, and so they had. There had been some time, and then it just came on kind of suddenly, and it continued because I was a person who was right there with the witnesses, sort of maintaining contact with them while they were waiting to be interviewed by investigators.
You recall that almost a decade later, you recall it.
Right. It stands out.
What stood out, or what was, or what caused you to recall that all this time later?
It was unusual because I've been to other scenes, and people are upset, they're distraught, but there's an instant or there's some short period of time, and then it sort of dissipates, and even if they're still upset, it doesn't continue on and on and on and on, but it was steady.
That's all I have, Judge.
Good morning, Officer Ward.
Good morning, sir.
How long have you been in law enforcement?
For 11 years now.
11 years. So just to go back a little bit, before you're actually allowed to be on the street, you have to go through the police academy, correct?
That's correct.
So when you go to the police academy, they teach you different aspects of your duty. Is that right?
Yes.
And one of those duties is how to investigate a crime scene. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And you have to, I believe, show your superiors or your teachers that you understand everything you need to do properly before you're allowed to go out on the street and conduct investigations, right?
Yeah, there's some practical exercises. That's true.
Okay. Now, in the amount of time that you've been in law enforcement, how many times have you investigated a house where there's been a murder? You could ballpark it because I'm pretty sure it's a lot.
Oh, no, actually, probably maybe more arriving on scene, not as the actual investigator, but as just one of the responding officers, less than 15 times, probably.
Okay, so less than 15. Let me ask you this. How many times have you had to search a residence to clear it?
That's probably too many to count right there.
Okay, so you said you were the first officer that arrived, the first actual law enforcement officer to arrive.
Right.
Brady and EMS and lay people were already there, neighbor people.
Right.
All right, so being the first officer, you're the one that has to clear the residence, correct?
Right.
All right, do you have that state's exhibit with the inside of the house?
I do.
Now, let's walk through this. You said, where did you say you entered?
From the carport. So that's depicted at the bottom of that diagram.
Right. And you entered the house and people were already in there.
Right.
Did you demand or command everyone to get out?
Not initially, but they were already, because Fire and Grady let me know that the male on the sofa was deceased already. They gave me some indications of that.
Okay.
I didn't understand why I didn't have that information that a person was deceased in the call. So I guess it happened in the interim between receiving the call, like everything or the call. But so I went straight through the place before I got anybody out of there from that. But they were all in that front area.
So let's start with that front area. Did you see any like sandwich baggies that were just strewn around?
I don't recall that, sir.
Did you see any scales that were anywhere in that living room?
No.
Did you see any type of plates or mirrors or baggies that had any type of cocaine or crack residue in that first room?
No.
All right. So then let's go to I guess the next room would be a bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And there, did you see any baggies thrown around?
No.
Did you see any scales in that room?
No.
Did you see any mirrors, plates, or baggies with any type of residue?
No.
All right, let's go to the back room where one of the victims was laying. And again, did you see any baggies thrown around in that room?
No.
Did you see any scales in that room?
No.
Did you see anything with a mirror or plate or anything like that that had any type of residue on it?
No.
All right, so across from that room is another bedroom. And I believe no one was in there. Same questions. Did you see any baggies thrown around there?
No.
Did you see any scales in that room?
Nope.
Did you see any mirrors, plates, or anything with residue on it?
No, sir.
All right, now, if we're coming back towards the front room, I believe there's a bathroom there. Did you see any baggies in there?
No.
Did you see any scales in there?
No.
Did you see any mirrors, plates, or anything like that that had residue on it?
No.
And finally, the kitchen area. Did you see any sandwich baggies in there?
No, I don't
Did you
recall.
see any scales in there?
No.
Did you see any plates, mirrors, or anything that suggests there was residue in there?
Not that I recall, no, sir.
So you searched the house, didn't find any of that?
I didn't search the house, but I did clear the house.
I apologize. And in any of those rooms, did you happen to find a ledger that was anywhere that showed drug sales or anything like that?
No, sir, I didn't.
Okay.
But I wouldn't have.
Now, moving to the second picture, and I believe it's a drawing of the outside of the residence.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Let me know when you got it.
I have it.
All right. But you didn't make this drawing, correct?
No, sir.
But you said you were the first officer there, and you actually taped off the residence.
I'm not sure if I personally taped it off, but I was involved in, you know what I mean, directing that possibly whenever some other officers arrived on scene.
Gotcha. All right, now, before we talk about the tape off, let me ask you this. Could you tell the jury which supervisor told you that when you're clearing the scene, you don't have to check the backyard?
Oh, no supervisor told me that.
Okay, so you've been trained that if you're clearing the scene of a residence, you not only do the front and the residence itself, but you do the backyard as well.
No, that's not. It depends on where what the focus is, and if there's some known threat, and something like the backyard. I was by myself, so what I personally did. Now, when other officers arrived, they may have, but gone to the back. But initially, no, my focus was just by myself, was the residents and that one point of entry, getting everybody outside, and then making sure no one else went inside until other officers arrived on scene. But my supervisor arrived pretty quickly.
Okay. Now, you said when you got the call and you went to the residence, you weren't told that there are dead bodies in the house.
No, absolutely not.
All right. So when you got the call and you were the first one there, you're saying that your initial thought wasn't, let me check the entire residence?
No, sir, absolutely not.
Okay. In a high crimes area, like you said?
The nature of the call. I'm going with the nature of the call because Grady and Fire were already on scene. And if they weren't, you know what I mean, there was no sign of distress from them. There's no reason for me to think that there was a threat on scene.
But no supervisor told you to do that. You just didn't because of the nature of the call.
Yes, sir. Nature of the call.
And you may not have an answer for this, but I have to ask, if there's a drawing of the inside of the house and it's complete, why doesn't the drawing on the outside of the house show the backyard?
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure, sir.
Okay. And I believe you said there was that one male that you just saw that was visibly distraught.
Right.
And he had a bottle in his hand. Do you remember what kind of bottle that was?
I believe it was Hennessy because it had a long neck and it was round at the bottom. So
we're talking hard liquor. We're not talking about like
right.
oldie. Okay. No further questions. Thank you.
Any redirects?
Officer Ward, as the first responder, would it have also been your responsibility to investigate this as a homicide case?
No, once I determine that there's a homicide, then I just need to make sure that I advise supervisor and get the right resources on scene.
But after that date of the 22nd of 2013, did you have any further involvement in the case that was your intent to?
No.
Okay. As a first responder, was that your sole?
Right. That's it.
That's all.
Any recross on those issues?
Yes, Your Honor. Briefly. Officer Ward, between 5:39 p.m. that day and 11:24 p.m. that day, how long were you there?
No, I believe I was there for the entire time.
The entire time. So you saw other officers moving around doing what other officers are supposed to be doing?
Yes.
All right. And did you leave before or after it started raining heavily?
I know, I don't recall that part.
Okay. And my last question, that gentleman that you saw that was visibly distraught, did you know at that time that he lived 300 feet away in a house in that neighborhood?
No.
Thank you. No further questions.
All right. Thank you, Officer Word. Let me check in with the jury. Anyone want a quick break or anything like that? Okay, let's take 5 or so. And when you're ready, we'll resume with our next witness.
All right, for the jurors.
All right, thank you. All right, let's take 5. And if we could also, I'd ask the state to, let's go ahead and bring in your third witness and have him on the stand so we can jump right back into it. All right, thank you.
That's all they got. That's hard for anybody. I'm glad I hope there's some. Stay focused. Stay focused.
Marcus, write that down. I'm just asking for what something officer said.
You like you might know. Oh, but then you might not be able to.
You do it.
Oh, no, I don't, I myself want
You said that out there.
to. Yeah, I don't.
Exactly. I've been working on it. Send us on the website. We're working on something.
And we just sit down.
I've seen some cream.
So. First like SWAT today.
I was scared.
I didn't do it. I hear you. Extra clips. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. Yes. It's there. She had some stuff we making first. Okay, I'll ask. We'll ask that and she needs to be this.
You emailed them.
I did.
You did.
Well,
Did you ever
she gave this email on my phone.
I was gonna look for the name right here. But don't you have another?
All right, Deputy Scott, if the jury seems like they're ready, then bring them on in.
All rise for the jury.
Y'all can be seated as you come in because we're standing for you. Thank you. Say may call its next witness.
State calls Mr. Latasha Gaither.
We got one more.
Just a moment, Mr. Trepanier.
Yes.
All right, now we have all our jurors. Mr. Trepanier, if you could re-announce your state's next witness.
State calls Ms. Latasha Gaither.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm to the testimony you should give? Help you?
I do.
All right, speak with
Latarcia Gaither, Latarcia, last name Gaither.
Good morning, Ms. Gaither.
Morning.
First thing I want to ask is, do you go by any nicknames, or how do people usually refer to you?
As Renee.
Renee. I want to go back to 2013, okay? At that point, where were you? Where did you lay your head?
I had two residents where I stay now, which is in Atlanta, in East Lake, and then I was also staying with Tim on Gary Road, Gary Court.
And stayed with Tim. What was your relationship to Tim?
That was my significant other. That was my boyfriend.
And what was his full name?
Timothy Franklin Jackson.
Back then, do you remember what phone numbers you had?
I don't. It's been too long. I don't remember.
Do you, what's your current phone number that you use at your residence in Atlanta?
My home number,
Yeah, did you have that number back in 2013?
I did,
Okay, so what number was that?
404-377-2130.
And do you remember a number by 678-651-4943?
Yes,
Okay, what number was that?
that was my old cell phone number.
Okay, so both of those numbers you had back in 20.
Yes.
How long in 2013 had you been dating Tim Jackson for?
Over 5 years.
So in those 5 years, was he living at Gary Court that full 5 years?
Yes, from my understanding.
Did you stay with him at Gary Court for basically that full amount of time?
Yes, off and on.
And when you say off and on, what does that mean?
Like I will go home so that I can go to work, and then I'll come back and spend the weekend. Sometimes I'll spend a couple of weeks there.
So you would spend, if I'm understanding, you might spend a couple of weeks there, staying there continuously?
Yes.
Okay. And then sometimes you'd go back to, East Atlanta and stay there?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember what Mr. Jackson's phone numbers were?
I don't.
Would seeing a copy of a report help refresh your recollection?
It may.
So I'm showing you a copy of a
Mhm.
report. Take a second to look at that. See if that refreshes your recollection. And then I'm just going to ask my question again, okay?
Yeah.
So do you remember what phone numbers Tim Jackson had back then?
I do now.
Okay,
Yes.
so what were those numbers?
678-349-4166.
Okay.
And he had another phone too. That was the new one, 404-748-8934.
And would you call him or text him at both of those numbers?
Yes.
Did he use those numbers interchangeably with you?
He did.
What about, so you said he stayed at Gary Court and you stayed with him.
Yes.
Did he stay there alone?
No,
Okay.
not all the time.
Not all the time. So back in November of 2013, who was staying at Gary Court with him?
Bubba and Eldridge.
Do you remember Bubba's full name?
Rebarius. I don't just call him Bubba. I can't remember. Like I said, it's been so long.
And what about Eldridge? Do you remember Eldridge's name?
Eldridge. No, I don't remember his whole name either.
What were their, so Bubba was a nickname for one of them. And then you said Eldridge. Did Eldridge have a nickname?
L. We used to call him L.
L. And what was the connection between Timothy and Bubba? How did they know each other?
Through his play sister. That's how he got to know Bubba. So it's just like that was his nephew.
And then L, how did he know L?
That's his blood cousin.
And what were their ages? Like if you had to, how old was Timothy, I guess, back in 2013? Do you remember?
I don't. A lot of stuff I just blocked out. I don't remember.
Well, comparing him to Bubba, was Bubba older or younger?
Younger.
Bubba was younger.
Mhm.
Do you remember how much younger?
Bubba was in his early 20s.
And then what about L?
He was an older gentleman
Or do you remember sort of what his age was?
in his 50s.
In his 50s. Do you remember what Bubba's phone number was?
I
If I
don't.
can draw your attention back to that same report. Did you ultimately give that, and does that refresh your recollections to what Bubba's number was?
Yes.
What was Bubba's number?
404-645-1169.
Okay. And you would call Bubba occasionally, would you?
Yes.
So that was a number that you would have been familiar with and remembered back in 2013.
Yes.
How long had Bubba been living at that house?
I want to say for a couple of months he was there.
And then what about L?
Years.
Do you remember how the house was set up?
I do.
So looking at the house, how would you go into the house?
Through the carport.
Okay.
And when you go in, when you're going into the door, you see the hallway, a slight to your right, and then the living room is over to the left. The kitchen is over to the right. If you go down the hallway, there's a bedroom to your left, bathroom on your right, and the 2 bedrooms.
All right, let's go ahead and have jury take 5. All right. Ms. Gaither, feel free to take your time and let us know when you think we can proceed. All right.
I'm sorry. It's just bringing back so many memories.
Understood.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm ready.
President Thomas, yeah.
All right, thank you. Please be seated. State may proceed.
Ms. Gaither, so you just got done describing the house, but I'm just gonna take a step back and ask you a question if you recognize the name. James Eldridge Johnson,
Yes,
do you recognize that name?
I do.
How do you recognize that name?
That's L's name.
If you went into the house, you went in through the carport. Is that right?
Yes,
Did the house also have a front door?
yes, it did.
Did anybody use that front door?
We never used it.
Inside the house, was that front door blocked?
No,
What was in the living room area? Was there anything that like Tim liked to do in there?
yes, he used to love to play the game,
And when you
Xbox.
used to like to play Xbox.
Yes,
That's something that he did all the time.
yes,
When you were there, would he play the game?
yes,
Did you play the game with him?
I did.
What about the other people in the house?
They did. L didn't because he was an older gentleman, but yeah, other people did.
So when you would be at Gary Court, who would be inside the house?
More like on a regular basis.
Yeah.
It will be me, L, Tim, Bubba, Derez, a few other people that would come in and out.
And you mentioned Derez. Is that Derez Sanders?
Yes,
Did you know him by that name?
yes. And we also called him another name as well.
And what was the other name that you called?
Hot.
Hot. Okay. Why was Hot in the house?
Because he was cool with Tim.
Do you know how they knew each other?
Another one of Tim's neighbors brought Derez over there and they was over smoking weed, playing a game. That's how it started out.
What did that turn into?
A buddy, like a friendship, like a brother.
I want to talk about sort of a little bit what they did at Gary Court. So did Tim sell drugs?
He did.
Are you familiar with the term trap house? Would you tell the jury how you understand that term trap house?
The trap house is where they sold drugs and where whatever type of drug they chose, it was there. And customers would come and go and buy the drugs.
Was that Gary Court house a trap house?
Was.
What type of drugs did they sell out of that house?
Crack, cocaine, weed, powder.
And when you say powder, what is powder?
Cocaine, powder, crack.
Who was selling drugs out of that house?
Tim, Bubba, Derez, L sometimes, but he was more of a runner. That mean he went to deliver.
And would it be fair to say that Tim took on Derez to work under him?
He did.
Who was in charge of the house?
Tim.
Did that business kind of run through Tim?
He did.
I'm going to ask you, are you familiar with the term like serve?
Yes.
What does serve mean?
When you give the customers the drugs.
And who did those 4 people that you described in the house, who did they serve to?
People that wanted to come and buy drugs.
Was it just anybody?
It wasn't anybody, it was the norm. They was the normal people in the neighborhood that came by.
So for example, Tim didn't know me, and I came up to the cardboard door. Would he let me in?
No.
Was that house like secure when you were in there?
Yes.
Okay, so explain that to me.
Every door and window had burglar bar doors on it.
And were, the doors, were they always locked?
The burglar bar doors, yes.
Who did that door?
Tim.
Okay. How did he keep that key?
On the keychain around his neck, or he might have it in his pocket.
Did it have anything like identifiable to it that would indicate that that was the house key?
Sometimes he would have it like on a string with the little clip, and it would be just that one key, or it may be 2 keys on it.
If I was a regular customer, so for example, I had dealt with him before, and I came to the carport, what would he do?
He will look around and see and ask you what you want.
And say, why would you ask for some crack cocaine or some powder cocaine? Would he just let me in the house?
No, not all the time.
You say not all the time. So would he do that sometimes?
Yes.
Okay. When would he let somebody in the house versus not let them in the house?
Depending on how much money you're gonna spend.
So if you had more money, you were more likely to be let in the house?
Yes.
What about late at night? If someone came up to the door, would Tim serve them then?
Yes.
Okay. Would he let them in the house then?
It depends on who you are.
So would you say he would be more on guard at night?
Yes. Well, he was on guard all the time.
So he was on guard all the time. So if a stranger or someone was in the house, he would be on guard while they were in the house.
Yes.
Would he be sitting there on the Xbox? Sitting in here in court today, do you see Derez Sanders?
I do.
If you could indicate what he's where he is and what he's wearing by an article of clothing.
Yes.
Can you do that for me?
Right there. In the white shirt with the dress in his head.
Your Honor, let the record reflect that the witness has identified Derez Sanders.
The record will so reflect.
So besides him kind of being in charge and Bubba, and then sounds like Derez was newer, did anybody else serve out of that house?
Very rarely, very rarely.
And in November, of 2013. Was anybody else serving out of that house that you remember?
No.
To serve people out of that house without actually being let into the house?
Yes,
Okay, so how would you do that?
through the screen door,
You say screen door, was that one of the like burglar bar doors?
burglar bar doors.
Okay.
Mhm.
So how would you do that? Like was,
It was a little slit or a little hole in the screen.
would Bubba or Derez just be allowed to let anybody in the house without asking Tim?
No,
And what about if Tim wasn't there? Would other people be allowed in the house?
no,
Was what Tim did a 24/7 sort of situation, or did it shut down? How did that work?
it was 24/7, but it slowed down like at a certain time of night.
Do you know or remember where they kept the drugs that they were going to sell inside the house?
I do.
Okay, where was that?
On the table in a little can or a cigar box that always sat on the table.
When you say the table, where was that table?
When you first come in, the door is over like the kitchen, then it's a wall. It's right there. It was right there to the right.
Okay, so if I'm walking in the carport, right, back door, and I'm walking straight, to the right of me is what?
The kitchen, but then a little bit, because there's a wall, and then the table was up against the wall to the right.
Okay, so on the right side, up against the wall. And did you see drugs there?
I did.
Did you see money there?
I did.
Do you know how the drugs were like packaged?
In a little baggie.
Like this?
No, little baggie.
Little baggies. Okay. And just for the record, that's a couple inches.
I don't know. I don't know.
But not large.
Not
baggies
large.
That would be sitting right there. Okay. And then what about money? How was the money
Yes.
kept?
He will keep some money up in the front, but then the rest of it was in the back because he didn't want a lot of it just sitting out there like that.
On any given day, do you remember how much money you would see just lying around?
It wasn't mine. I didn't keep up with it.
Did the folks, well, let me go back. You mentioned that Bubba and Al stayed in the house with Tim. Did Derez stay there or lay his head there at all?
He did a couple of times.
You were there and actually saw that?
Yes.
Okay. Did Tim and Bubba get along?
They did.
Did Tim and Al get along?
They did.
Were there any issues between Tim and Bubba or Tim and Al?
L, every now and then when he smoked up the drugs, but other than that, no.
So occasionally Tim and Al might have an issue because Al smoked up some of his product. What about Tim and Derez?
Normal brother type buddy arguments or spats or whatever. It was nothing big.
Okay. What about vehicles? Did Tim have any vehicles?
He did.
Okay. What vehicles did he have?
He had the Crown Victoria. It was black, but it was in the shop, so no one saw it. Then he also had he kept the brown, I want to say LeSabre, if I'm not mistaken. There. I don't know what kind of car it was. I know it was tan, brownish.
Okay. And then did he have another car as well?
Yes, the green car.
Okay. Do you remember what year that car was?
I don't.
Would seeing a copy of refresh your recollection?
Yes. (1997) Buick LeSabre.
And what color was that car?
Tannish brown.
Was it, wasn't there, was the green car the LeSabre?
Yeah, so I don't know too much about cars, but yes.
Okay.
The green car was a LeSabre, was a Buick. I do know that.
Okay. Do you remember how much that was worth at the time?
I don't.
Was that car in your name?
It was.
Okay. Why was that car in your name?
Because he didn't want to put it in his, just in case if anything happened, he wanted it to be secured, like nothing, nobody would be able to take it if it was in my name and not his.
Did
Well, he actually bought it for me.
Would you say he bought it for you?
Yeah, he did.
Do you know how much he bought it for?
I don't.
Did he keep the car in good shape?
He did.
How many sets of keys were there for that car?
One.
Okay. And where did Tim keep his keys for the car?
Again, around his neck or in his pocket.
Were they on the same like chain that the house key was, or a different chain?
I know once upon a time they were on two different chains, and then they could have been on one a couple of times, like if it broke or something like that.
When you went over, so I'm going to skip ahead a little bit and then come back. When you went over to the house on November 22nd, was the green car there?
Yes.
Or was it gone?
Was there.
Can I show you a photo? Show you what has been admitted as State's Exhibit 15. Looking at State's 15, which car was that?
That was the car that he bought me.
That's the tan car?
That's the tan car, yes.
And what about the green car? Did he also buy you the green car?
He did.
Okay. So in State's Exhibit 15, the tan car is there. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, but not the green car?
No.
Okay. So the green car was the car that was missing.
No, this car was the one that's missing because I drove the green car there. I'm sorry. This car was the one that was missing. The green car I drove.
I know you're taking a second and thinking, so I'm going to give you a second. We're going to publish State's Exhibit 15.
Drove.
Was one of your cars ultimately, did you find out that it had been burned or destroyed?
Yes, this car.
Are you sure that that was this car?
Yeah.
We're going to publish State's Exhibit 15.
Yes, that was the car.
It's okay if you don't remember.
Yeah, that's the car that was burned because I drove the green car because that's how I got over there.
Do you remember, I'm going to take you back to November 21st of 2013. Do you remember the last time you spoke to Tim?
Yes, the night before I went over there.
And when you say you went over there, that was the next day, you mean?
Yes.
So when was the last time you spoke with Tim that night? The night?
I want to say 12, 11, 12, 1 o'clock the night before.
So late night, maybe early morning.
Yes.
Do you remember what he was doing?
He was playing the game.
Do you remember, could you tell like what game he was playing, or you know it was that game?
I know it was that game. He was
Okay.
playing, oh man, it was a shooting game. I can't remember the name.
If he was playing the game, would Tim let El, Bubba, or Derez just let anybody else in the house?
No.
The next morning, what do you do?
I called him and he didn't answer, so I thought he was asleep. And so I thought he was asleep. So I went to work and I called him. I kept calling and calling and he wouldn't answer. So I called around to his friends and I asked everybody, have y'all heard from Tim or seen Tim? And everybody's like, no, the car not there. So they thought he was gone. And I kept calling. That's unusual because if he missed a phone call from me, he would call me back.
And you said the car wasn't there.
No,
Okay, which car would have that have been?
this car here.
Okay. If I told you that car was a picture from the police at the crime scene that day, after you got there, would that change your mind as to what car was missing?
It's been so long, but I can't remember.
I guess you said there was a car. You know for certain that when you got there was a car missing.
Yes.
And it was one of Tim's cars.
Yes.
And was that one of the cars that was in your name?
Yes.
So you go to Cary Court. Do you remember what time you went over there?
It had to be when I got off work. So it's about 6 o'clock, 6:30.
Do you go over there alone or with anybody?
By myself.
What's the first thing that you start doing when you get there?
I go to the door and I bang on the door and nobody comes to the door. Then I start calling.
And who do you start calling?
Tim's phone.
Do you go around? Does Tim answer?
No, he does not.
Do you go around?
Objection, Your Honor. Again, this is more of a leading question. The proper way would be, what did you do? Not did you do ... The state is literally walking her through.
I understand, Mr. Hoover. Mr. Trepanier, what is going to be the next question that you ask?
And I will rephrase, Your Honor.
All right.
So what do you do next with the house?
I just walk around the house to see if anything happened, because prior to going over there, I called the hospitals. I called the jails to see if he was there because he wouldn't answer his phone and he wasn't there. And I walked around the house to see if anything was out of place, like a window or burger bar, anything. And there was nothing out of place. Everything was as normal.
Secured.
It was very secure.
Are you still the only one there at that point?
Yes,
Do you call anybody else?
I do.
Who do you call?
I called some of his friends and I also called Derez.
And when you talked to Derez, what did you say?
I asked him, have you heard from Tim? And he said, no, not since yesterday. And I said, well, where are you? And he was like, I'm on Bankhead. And I was like, okay. I said, well, call Tim and see if he answer for you. And he was like, okay.
Does Derez come down to the house?
He do.
How quickly did he get there?
Too fast for him to be on Bankhead like he said he was.
And just if you can explain it to the jury, why do you say that it was too fast for him to have been on Bankhead?
Because Gary Court is some streets away from Bankhead.
How fast did he get there?
Too fast to be on feet.
Now that there, sounds like Derez is there, did other people arrive there too?
Yes.
What do you start doing next?
Before then, when I walked around the house, I didn't see anything out of place. So I went to my car to go get a cigarette. I said, I need a cigarette. And then I went up and, no, before then, let me start back over. After I went around the house, I called Tim's phone, his other phone, and it was ringing. So I started just banging on the door again. And I was like, well, maybe he just left his phone. I said, so let me just go down here and just get a cigarette and get my mind together. So as I bent down in the car to get a cigarette and I leaned up, I seen the back window curtain open. Got a chair out the neighbor's yard. And I looked in the window and I saw Bubba laying his head to the side like this. And I banged on the window and I said, I kept calling his name, Bubba, Bubba. And then because I'm so short and how the window is, I stood up on my feet and I saw the blood all on him. So I fell out the chair and the first thing I can do was call my mama. And I told her, Mama, they dead in there. They dead, somebody need to come open the door because I need to know if Tim need me. Then I started calling my mom, said, call the police.
I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna let you
Call the police. I hung up with my mom and I called the police and then I started calling his friends and I called everybody. I even called Derez and I told him, I said, Derez, they dead in there. And all that I know, everybody came and he was there. And that's all I remember. And then somebody came in and broke open the door. And when they broke on the door, I just lost it. Like, who did that?
So I'm gonna let you take a second, okay? So you mentioned getting into the house.
Yes.
How did you get into the house?
Somebody came and opened up the door.
Remember how they did that?
With a stick or something. I don't even remember. I just know the door was jarred open. And that's when all of us went in there, me, Derez, and whoever else was there. And we all went into the house. And that's when I see him. I'm sorry.
I know this is an emotional thing to have to recount for you. Take as much time as you need. Do you know how fast after that the fire department or Grady responded?
I don't.
After you get into the house, how is Derez acting?
He was acting emotional just like I was. And I just remember him punching the wall. And then, I don't know. I don't even remember how I got out of the house.
The next day, or on that day, was somebody that you knew unaccounted for from that house?
Yes, L.
Were you trying to get in touch with Elle at all?
He never had a phone.
What the next day, did you try to tell anybody to go over there to look for Elle?
I don't even remember.
So if there was a stranger in the house when Tim was there, would he have fought?
Yes.
Would he have defended himself?
Yes.
Would he have been sitting on the couch playing video games?
No.
Do you remember Tim's candlelight vigil at all?
I do.
Was there anything odd at the candlelight vigil that you remember?
Yes.
What was odd to you?
Derez. He had on a long black trench coat. That wasn't like him at all. Sorry.
Was there anything else odd about that you remember?
No.
What about after you got taken out of the house the day that you went over? Was there anything else odd that you noticed Derez doing that day?
I don't even remember seeing Derez. Well, yes, when we went over there the next day. No. I think because it's been so long. I don't know if I went back over there that same night or the next day.
And when I'm talking about the next day, I'm talking about the day that you found Tim. How was Derez acting when you got out of the house?
I don't even remember because I don't remember.
I'm going to ask you a few names and whether you knew them or Tim knew them, okay? Did Tim know a Dwayne High?
I don't even know who that is.
The nickname Wayne?
I don't even know.
So that's not somebody that you ever saw at the Gary Courthouse?
I'm not good with names. Maybe if I saw his face. Because again, it's been a long time.
He was not somebody that, or was he somebody that Tim, I'm going to rephrase. You knew the people that Tim trusted?
I did.
What about the name Mario or Bam Bam?
No.
If that was a person that Tim would have trusted, would you have probably known that name?
Yes.
And Tim would have only let somebody in the house that he trusted or was paying attention to.
Yes.
I want to talk about the missing car just a little bit more, okay? The car that was missing, was that car operable?
Yes,
Did it drive?
it did.
You know, was it well maintained?
Yeah, because he made sure that we can get in and go.
You know, did everything inside of it work that you remember?
From my understanding, yeah, I can remember.
Thank you. No further questions. Subject to be direct.
Okay.
Good morning, Ms. Gaither.
Good morning,
I was having difficulty asking you said. Could you repeat that, please?
Gaither.
No, I mean, with the state, I apologize. What was your response to this question?
To which one?
The question about the vehicles?
Oh, he asked me, did it work? I said yes.
Now, let's start there. And there was a little confusion, but I think I understand why. So one of the cars that was in your name for Tim, excuse me, was a green 1994 Pontiac Bonneville. Does that sound correct?
Both of them was in my name.
Yes, ma'am. And you were saying that you actually drove the green car to the house that day or the night you found Tim, right?
If I'm not mistaken, it's been so long, but I'm thinking, yes, I did.
I understand. And you had another car that was like a mauve colored Buick LeSabre, didn't you?
Yes, this car here.
Okay, yes. And mauve, that's like could you explain what kind of color is that?
I say tannish, brownish.
Tannish, brownish, okay. Okay. And Tim didn't have another green car that you knew about?
No.
Thank you. Now, you were dating Tim for around 5 years, right?
Or more.
Okay, so that means when you first met Derez, he was about what, 14, 15 years old?
Could have been 16.
16. So that when he started hanging out around there, it's because that was his neighborhood, right?
Correct.
He just lived a couple feet away, really.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Derez, 14, 15, maybe 16 years old. That's when you first meet him.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that they built some type of the friendship that was more like a brotherhood than a friendship.
Right.
So much so that when you were looking for Tim, Derez would be one of the people you called.
Just that time.
Okay. Now, do you remember speaking to officers when you went to the police station?
Yes.
Do you remember telling them that Timothy Jackson and Eldridge both had keys to that house?
No.
You don't remember saying that?
No.
Okay. You don't remember telling them that there were 2 sets of keys to the house?
No.
Okay. And I know it's been a very long time, so I completely understand. A couple of names. I want to give you just a couple more to see if you remember them. Do you know who Harold Levy is? They called him Sammy the Bull. Sounds weird. Okay. Demetrius Pullins, do you know who he is?
I do.
Okay. And Chelsea Brewer, do you know who Chelsea Brewer is? You've never heard that name before? Okay.
A lot of people don't go by their government
I
unless they're
understand.
close, and then we know who they are, but. Mm-mm.
Okay, so Chelsea's not someone close that you actually recognize that name.
No.
Gotcha. Now, is it safe to say that you didn't know everything Tim was doing back then?
I knew it.
Everything?
Yeah.
Where did he buy his drugs from?
He was buying them from Fousey.
From Fousey? From Fousey? How much would he get at the time?
Say what now?
How much would he get at the time?
Now that I can't tell you.
Well,
I don't know.
Oh, okay. How many different types would he get at one time?
What do you mean types?
How many different types of drugs would he get at one time?
2, 3.
2 to 3 different types of drugs?
Yes.
Can you tell us what they are?
Crack.
And Timothy wouldn't go outside and say like in the front yard to give anybody drugs, would he, to sell them? Would he?
No.
He would serve everyone on the inside.
Correct.
Gotcha. Now, the state asked you, and you spoke about there were a couple of issues between between Eldridge and Tim, and you said they weren't that big of a deal.
No.
There was one issue where you had to take Mr. Eldridge to the hospital because of an incident that they had, correct?
No.
You never told officers that you had to take Eldridge to Atlanta Medical because he and Tim got into a fight?
I don't remember.
You never told officers when they interviewed you at AP or at the police department that Tim thought Eldridge stole money and drugs from him, so he fought him?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay. So there was one point in time where Tim thought Eldridge stole money and drugs from him, and Tim actually picked up a weight and beat him, right?
I can't recall.
You don't remember telling the officers that?
No.
Okay. Now, were there any times that Derez got into a fight with anyone in that house?
Not that I can remember.
Okay. Last question. In that house, where did Tim keep his white safe?
His what?
His white safe?
What white safe?
I'm asking you.
I never known of a white safe.
You never knew of a white safe?
No.
Oh, and my last question, I promise this time. Do you remember when you spoke with officers that you told them when you called Derez, he told you he was with Demario Davenport?
I don't know who Demario Davenport is.
And they were over on that? Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Any redirect?
Did you know anybody by the name of Cece?
A girl?
Yeah. You know a female by the name of Cece?
I have heard of her name, yeah.
Was she somebody that you would see sometimes at Tim's house?
Yes.
Did you spend time with her?
Probably have. I don't remember.
Do you know if her and Tim were close?
I mean, if she was from the neighborhood, he was pretty close with everybody.
So he knew lots of people from the neighborhood.
He grew up in that neighborhood.
So lots of people knew him too.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Gaither. You may step down. All right, members of the jury, I think this is the perfect timing for our lunch break today. And so I know the time is 12:05. Let's be back here at 1:05, ready to go. Please do not do any outside research of any kind during this break, and please do not discuss this case amongst yourselves or with anyone else during this break. We'll see you back at 1:05. All right, anything from the state we need to take up before break?
No, Your Honor.
Anything from the defense? All right, we'll see you at 1:05.
So we have an hour.